Hello, everybody. Welcome to our new podcast, Star Wars Shelter. It's good to be here. Thank you all for tuning in. My name is James, or Jamie, and with me, I have my co-host, Charlie. Charlie, how are you doing?
Hey mate, I am doing perfect on this lovely day.
I'm glad to hear it, Charlie. I'm glad to hear it. Life treating you good? Life treating you well right now?
I mean, it's all right. It's as good as it can get. I mean, hopefully, a little sit-down chat about Star Wars is going to lighten the mood of this lockdown.
That is very
Should be
true.
fun. Should be very fun.
So, to the audience, just to catch you up, if it's not obvious already, we are going to be doing a podcast about Star Wars, everything Star Wars, comics, TV shows, books, movies, games, the lot. Anything that we want to talk about, we will on Star Wars. Anything you want to hear as well, let us know, and we might cover it. Today, we're going to starting a very, very special series close to our hearts, where we will be reviewing and discussing every single episode of The Mandalorian.
I can't wait. I really can't wait because this show, honestly, is some of the best TV I've ever watched.
Honestly, like I feel like Game of Thrones left a big gap, a very big gap in my TV watcher's heart, a big, stark shaped hole in my heart. And now it's finally started to be filled with The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. Charlie, what a show.
I mean, it's even more of a bonus that it happened to be Star Wars as well, isn't it?
I know. If it was just, a Western, it is quite Western-esque, isn't it?
I think
Especially
there's
the first
elements of it.
season.
Very
Yeah.
much so. I think the whole role of bounty hunters in Star Wars has a bit of Western inspiration.
I never thought of it that way. I suppose Boba Fett is kind of like the original kind of cold, Western shooter type character in Star Wars. So yeah, I can see that opinion definitely.
Cad Bane as well in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. No, you hit the nail
Very
right on the head.
Western-esque. He's even got the hat to go along with it.
He's got the hat. He's got the dual pistols and the hat.
Exactly, mate.
Wow.
He's basically Arthur Morgan.
He basically is. I'm very ashamed it took me a second there, but he's basically Arthur Morgan. So yeah, we are going to be talking about episode 1 of The Mandalorian today, Charlie.
Yeah, we've both just rewatched it today.
We have.
It's been a while. I don't know how long did it come out now?
Was it 2019? I want to say.
God, it couldn't have been. Surely not.
Have a look.
That is.
But yeah, it's been a while. Mandalorian season 1 originally came out in 2019. Originally airing on the 12th of November 2019, Charlie.
That just shows how long this period of time has been in our lives. It's not been fun, but we can't complain. Especially when we've got Star Wars
podcast. It will keep us entertained, keep us interested. Hopefully, it will keep you interested. Exactly. So hopefully this will be benefit to everyone who watches this, and if not, I'm sorry to hear that.
A form of escapism for everyone into the Star Wars universe, and I think we can all agree that's what Star Wars does best.
That's what Star Wars is, isn't it?
Anyway, should we say enough of the fanny talk and get on with the podcast?
Episode? Very, very strong words there, Charlie. Let's get on with it. Episode 1. The Mandalorian. What do you think?
It'd be good if we knew what the episode was called, wouldn't it? But anyway.
Oh well, right now I've just called it episode 1, The Mandalorian.
Yes. Sounds just as works. Professional,
Exactly.
It was professional. Some people. But anyway.
You're expecting a live audience reaction there, Charlie.
Where's the laugh track? No, I'm joking.
WandaVision style laugh track throughout the ages.
Yeah, I like it.
Anyway,
that's another podcast for another time.
Maybe we'll see. It goes Mandalorian and then WandaVision. The most consistent podcast channel on the internet, basically.
Anyway,
enough gallivanting around as Euron Greyjoy. Theon Greyjoy. So, Mandalorian episode 1. It starts off with a big Western style intro to Mandalore. Also, sorry, before we begin, spoilers for the whole show. We're not going to be doing it episode by episode. As in, we're not going to talk about. It's not like we're not going to talk about future episodes or future stuff that happens. So if you have not seen any Mandalorian episodes, I suggest you go back, watch it, and then come back. You know, we're gonna be here.
We're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere.
Yep. Just to clarify, we do have the great gift of hindsight whilst going through this.
Exactly. So we might be theorizing about stuff that might happen in season 3. You know, we're going to be talking about foreshadowing. It's all going to be in there. So spoilers for the whole show.
Yes.
Okay. So
with that, anyway, let's go.
Exactly. So Charlie, it starts with a big Western-style shootout where these ruffians, these brigands, are harassing this character who I believe is called Horatio Sands.
Oh yeah, Mr. Blue Fella. Yeah,
Mr. Blue Fella. I think that's his official name. The
Yeah.
fans call him Horatio Sands for some reason. He's really called the Blue Fella. So
Yeah.
the Blue Fella it looks like he's being harassed by these you know, bad guys, these bad blokes, if you will.
Yeah.
Right.
He's been a bit of a wheeler dealer on the market, and he's trying to get away with it, I think.
Well,
something along those
at
lines.
this point, at least for me, I thought he was just getting harassed for no reason, right?
Oh yeah, I suppose you can see that. When
I didn't
without
know.
the gift of hindsight.
Well, exactly, Audie. There you go. The gift of hindsight already in play.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing, isn't it, Charlie? So he's getting harassed, and then the Mandalorian walks in. Everyone's silent. Everyone's quiet. Everyone stares at him. You know, who's this guy? Why is he wearing Mandalorian armor?
Is it Boba Fett like everyone thought before it came out?
Is it Boba Fett? You know, no one had the benefit of hindsight, so we didn't know.
Mate, I remember just watching that whole scene. I was hooked from the start. As soon as he opened the door, I was like, "Oh, mate,
you're like, this is going to be a good show.
It's going to be a good show.
Star Wars at its finest." But yeah, so he walks into the bar. Everyone stops, has a look at him, and then this one ruffian, I guess, looks at him and decides to pick a fight with him. I don't know why. Either he's the bravest or the most foolish man in the whole galaxy, but he thinks this guy is a good guy to start a fight against.
A donut. That's what I call him.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so we've got the blue fella and the donut. The two best characters so far, I reckon.
I think we should have been I think I should have been in charge of naming the characters. I don't know why they didn't hire me.
I know. Maybe with the benefit of hindsight after watching this, you might get a job.
Who knows? Who knows? John Favreau.
Who knows?
Who
knows? So yeah, he is getting picked on by this guy, and then this amazing first fight breaks out.
Right. You see it all, didn't you? Straight from the start.
Quite literally all. From the trailer, you see this. I think it's not a Mon Calamari, the other species that shares the same. Quarren.
Is it? Yeah, it's Quarren, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. He like the revolving door starts to shut on him in the trailer, and that was what gripped me originally. I was like, wow, this is going to be violent.
That was
going to be insane.
You see his. Does he use a gun in that fight? I don't think he does.
He uses a grappling hook. I'm not sure if he uses his gun.
I don't think he does use a gun. Where's he even cooler, if anything?
Oh no, exactly. He doesn't need a gun. He's that skilled. Yeah, and then we think, at least I thought, the blue fella is safe. You know, he's gonna maybe befriend the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Nope. He has a bounty on his back.
The
Mandalorian has now come to bring in that bounty.
Yeah. Well,
How do you feel about that? How do you feel that sets his character up?
It just shows he's not a geezer out to make friends, is he? He's a geezer out to kick ass and take bounties.
Well, that is true, but would you consider that to be more cold-hearted, or just, you know, doesn't take any nonsense?
I mean, I think it's a thing at this point where you're just waiting to see. All you know so far is he's a cool geezer. He's a badass.
I don't think he said a single word yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And already, like, these geezers have been talking for the last 5 minutes, and yet Mandalorian with 0 lines is the most impactful character.
Actions are more powerful than words.
Exactly.
Actions are more powerful.
And again, it's something Star Wars does so well.
Oh no, that is true. Boba Fett said very few lines in the original trilogy, right? And yet it's still a fan favorite. Exactly. Still a fan favorite.
Mental.
Absolutely mental, mate. Anyway, so he takes Horatio, or Blue Fella, or whatever name you prefer, and he is going to take him back to his ship, the Razor Crest.
Cool. That's a cool ship off the bat as well.
I know. I feel like it's really cool, but it's not like overly flashy.
It's almost like it's got the rust bucket element of the Millennium Falcon, but it's also got like the kind of slick, like mysterious bounty hunter star of the Slave One. It's almost like a mixture of the two.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's quite kind of understated, like the Mandalorian's character,
Yeah, well, you could kind of
but
call him a
it
mix
looks like
between.
Beskar. So, you know, it's shiny.
True, true.
You know,
Imagine that would be pretty mental. You could
I don't
also,
think it is based on what happens in season 2, but imagine.
yeah, yeah, true. Could almost say,
Actually, would a you know, aerial orbital strike from a star destroyer? It probably would break Beskar, or at least dent it.
who knows? I
Anyway,
mean,
I'm getting.
I haven't got the science facts for that one.
We don't. Anyone out there who knows if an orbital strike from a star destroyer would beat, you know, be able to destroy Beskar, let us know.
That's not.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, come on, move on.
anyway, he goes to the taxi service, I suppose, and tries to
Ubers.
catch a ride. And there's this beautiful new ride with a droid in it, and that's the first time we see someone from Star Wars, probably, at least in a big series like this, say no droids and refuse to go on it.
Apart from
What's
the
that about?
Eisley Cantina.
Well, I mean, that's the biggest thing of all. How could I forget? Why do you think that is, Charlie? But when you were first watching it,
When
you
I was
know,
first watching it, I don't know.
bring me back.
I probably didn't even think anything of it. But obviously, as the story progresses, you see why through the amazing flashbacks.
Oh, we'll get on to that, but I think those
Yeah.
flashbacks are amazing. Right, and then he goes to his ship after a little, let's say, tussle with this big monster.
Yeah, poor taxi driver got eaten.
Poor man from
Big Bang Theory.
Big
But
Bang
all
Theory.
those out there that cared. Anyway, yeah, he's on the ship,
Mm,
and this is where it gets a few more niche little references, and yeah, I think you can call them references to like past bits, like in the original trilogy, because what's his name? Horatio,
Horatio.
everyone's favorite. He goes downstairs and for that old way out or a way to get away. He says he's taking a leak, but I don't think anyone was buying that.
I think he actively made it sound so disgusting that he wanted the Mandalorian to not want to go down there. He was like, "Oh, it's gonna be awful in here. You know, don't come down here. I'm so sorry. You're gonna need a cleanup crew when you're done."
Maybe he did make it a bit too obvious, because what we see next is the carbonite freezing unit with all the
Yes.
bounties subdued inside.
I was so surprised when I saw that. I mean, Empire Strikes Back much. Am I right?
Mate, it was a nice little throwback, and it shows he is just as ruthless as a nut job like Boba Fett.
That is so true. I feel like it plays the line so, you know, consistent. Like it's like a jump rope, mate. Like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Especially in earlier episodes.
Exactly.
You know, he rescues this guy from these, you know, tough guys in a bar, but then he arrests this guy, but then he lets him have free reign over his ship, but then he sticks him in carbonite. Is he just messing with him, or is he inconsistent? Is he complex, or was his plan always to throw in carbonite? I don't know.
It's got us guessing throughout the whole episode, I think.
Exactly.
It's got us guessing, and that is just the best part about it.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? I mean, at this point, you kind of know morally where he lies. You know, like he's not perfect, but he cares about his son, and that's all that matters in this story, at least for now. But at this point, we have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool because when we get to next is he gets to the guild of bounty hunters, and we meet.
Sorry, before we go on to that, I want to mention Horatio Sands says that he has a lot more money than the guild is willing to give Mando, but it does not faze Mando in the slightest, which shows that he really values his moral code as both a bounty hunter and a Mandalorian. You know, they're people of honor, people of pride.
I like that, Jamie. And I sort of fun.
I thought about that. You know, I this noggin is just not for a hat rack, my friend.
I like it.
Thank you. Which makes him.
You're like my very own C3PO.
I mean, I've been told I look like there's a resemblance there, and I am honoured. um, which makes his I suppose betrayal of those beliefs for Baby Yoda or Grogu later all the more impactful.
Yeah. I think we can get to that sooner rather than later.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
That's
Didn't
all
mean
right,
to interrupt you, but it's just this stuff is just too good.
mate. It is very addictive. I'll give you that, mate.
It
And
is.
then
That's why we
next
started
up,
this podcast, Mandalorian.
exactly, to have fun. Because
Exactly.
life isn't really that fun. Well, it is. It can make anyway. We're getting sidetracked.
Moving swiftly on. Yeah.
Next up, we're at the Guild
Mm,
with Carl Weathers' character, Mr. Grief. Didn't get a surname, but anyway, I had Grief.
the
And
client. I thought it was called.
no, that's the
Sorry.
client,
Yeah.
but
I missed Apollo Creed, right?
yes, yeah, that's it. The
Yeah.
geezer from Creed.
Yep.
Yeah, he's kind of leader of this bounty hunter group.
Mm.
And what do you think of that whole setup? The introduction to that aspect of the Mandalorian universe.
Well, what I took from it is that the whole universe, the whole galaxy, right, is in disarray because this is directly after, or at least very close to Episode 6, right, when the rebels blew up the Death Star 2,
Yeah,
and the Emperor's gone, and there are still like splinter factions of the Empire. The Republic clearly hasn't taken full control of the Outer Rim yet. There's still a lot going on, and I think the very fact that the contractor isn't sure how to pay Mando, Imperial credits or Mon Calamari, uh, units, but only half of what he was offered, of what he was told he was going to get. The galaxy's in disarray, mate.
yeah.
No one knows what's going on.
It's crazy. I think the main thing I got from it is just the feel of the whole place, the whole organization. It just feels so authentically Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Like you look around the gaff, you got like Trandoshans, you've
Mm.
got like I think there's a character that resembles. It might have even been him. Do you remember Embo from the Clone Wars?
Embo, the guy with the big hat.
Yeah, I saw someone looking like him. I mean,
Oh, wow.
just the whole
I
atmosphere,
missed that.
even when he's walking through the streets, it feels like a fully like sub submersive Star Wars environment.
It just
And
feels like Star
I feel
Wars.
like they got it right. They got it spot on when they was
Mm.
doing that.
That is a very good observation,
And
Charlie.
it's very hard to do, especially with technology being so different to how it was back then.
See, when you say feels like Star Wars, do you mean Star Wars in general, or is there a specific era of Star Wars you're thinking about?
I just mean it feels like it's not. It doesn't feel like a show that it's just been labeled Star Wars. It does
Mm.
feel like it is authentically part of the Star Wars world,
No, it's
if that
true.
makes sense.
Even the little details where he goes to see his client and the little eye pokes out that you see in Jabba's palace in
Yeah,
episode 6.
yeah.
Just the little things.
The little things. And people can
Exactly.
call that fan service, but I think that's just pettiness, if anything. Sorry to anyone that does think that, but
I mean,
yeah,
even if it is fan service, it's not inherently bad.
exactly.
As a Star Wars fan in the Star Wars universe, watching a Star Wars. Oh, I'm not in the Star Wars universe. Watching a Star Wars show in the Star Wars universe, and then seeing the little things that just makes it feel more authentic. You're right, Charlie. That's not a bad thing at all.
Exactly. I mean, from there we see he gets the old tip from Grief to go and get this bounty
Mm.
from a certain client, and he's on his way, and he meets up with this geezer. And I think it would have probably might have been a shock to some people. I'm not sure if it was in the trailers, but this bloke has an Imperial emblem on his necklace, I believe, and he's surrounded by stormtroopers.
I know, Charlie.
And I'm
What
not
do you think?
too sure if I was expecting that. I'm not sure if it was in the trailers, but yeah, stormtroopers, signs of Imperial entanglements straight off the bat.
I know. It was kind of like a whoa, right? Even we get the little snippets that were in the Star Wars universe, but then when you see those iconic helmets, their iconic armor, you're like, oh, okay, this is a Star Wars show. This is
Yeah.
serious business,
I mean,
especially after episode 6.
yeah, definitely. I mean, alongside Darth Vader, I don't think there is anything more iconic than a stormtrooper, is there?
Potentially more iconic.
Exactly.
Potentially.
Exactly, mate.
Maybe we'll get into what's more iconic later. Not a bad episode idea. Thank you, Charlie.
But yeah, yeah, exactly. He's told to find a certain being.
Mm.
I'm not too
A
sure how
certain
it's.
thing.
Yeah.
A certain client or
And
victim.
it's a weird dynamic because straight off the bat, although the Mandalorian might not necessarily be seeing them as villains, based off our prior Star Wars knowledge, us as viewers know already that these are the villains, pretty much, of this series.
I mean,
And,
we know they're villains. We know that Mando is a ruthless bounty hunter, contractor. Did it ever go through your mind that he might be fighting for the wrong side for the whole show?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, Boba Fett did it.
Yeah, very true.
For the whole trilogy, for the whole original trilogy. He was he was in the prequels as well.
Yeah.
Well, episode 2. But
let's talk about that the better thing.
Let's talk about that another time. Yeah. Interesting. Stormtroopers. And it has the best line, I think, in the whole episode. We've got you 4-1. I like those odds. Charlie. What a line. What a line.
Yeah, that is pretty badass.
Yeah, it just reeks of badass, this show, doesn't it?
Yeah. So to start the show, we get a series of introductions to certain aspects of this world, and they all come quite quick fire. And I'll get into how this works later. But first, we get introduced to Mandalorian, his character.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get introduced to the idea of the guild and the bounty hunters in the world. Then we get introduced to the Imperial side, the villains of this series. And next up, Mandalorian ventures to the Mandalorian almost hideout, I think we can call it. And we see his armor being manufactured.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another aspect of this world that Mandalorian is part of.
That is very true. That is true. We are seeing a lot of Star Wars culture in the first episode, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean,
and
the kind of secret, downplayed, kind of underground culture of the Mandalorians in non-Mandalorian space is something that I, at least, have never seen before.
Yeah, it's mad, and I think the Mandalorians, in their own way, although they don't really do anything, they're kind of the most interesting out of these 3 factions almost we've been introduced to in the series.
Yeah, they're so morally ambiguous in the Star Wars content that we've seen before. They're usually bad guys.
But now they've kind of, it's seeing how they've evolved since they were pretty much destroyed, and then they've risen and fallen. It's been a mad history for them, and you don't really see them throughout the original trilogy, and now we're seeing what they're like after it.
Yeah, I think we've only really seen them after their prime in canon.
Yeah.
Because before we had kind of the Mandalore, the ultimate, fighting the Jedi, leading the war against the Jedi. You know, you got to be a pretty badass culture to even consider it's warring against the Jedi Order in their prime.
Literally. I mean, it's almost sad to see such a great culture of people turn to people that almost seem like they're hiding within the shadows now.
Oh, I mean, I suppose that's a philosophical question. They're warrior people, aren't they? Fighting is in their blood. So was there non-peaceful ways a reason why they are now worse off? Or are they not fight hard enough? What do you think?
Or maybe now they've just started to go into hiding. People maybe have been not defecting, but kind of abandoning that warrior stance because maybe they just saw the Empire as a fight that you can't win. Maybe they gave up their hope as warriors.
Maybe I think that's a good observation, Charlie, because I think that's the case right now. And when you're seeing these kind of in hiding Mandalorians, you are, at least I was begging to see them in action, which
Yeah.
we may or may not see later. I will not get into, but you know that big Mandalorian as well, the big boy,
Yeah, the tank. What a
the
guy.
tank, the absolute unit. Like I want to see you. Just from the top of my head, maybe flying in the air with a minigun. I don't know. That's just on the top of my head.
He's
Um,
a flying George from Halo Reach.
oh, George.
What a throwback.
George, wow, I
Throw
haven't
that
thought
one
about
out
George in ages.
in a long time.
Let's
Long time.
move on before I feel really sad about
Oh,
George.
no. Well, next up, once Mandalorian's got his old armor manufactured by his mate in the old dungeon, he's off on his journey, and we're back to where it began for many Star Wars fans. Almost the most iconic place in the Star Wars history.
Possibly.
Tatooine.
Tatooine.
And
How do
we
you feel
get
about that? How do you feel about going back to Tatooine again?
I mean, I like it. It's a sense of familiarity that I will not shy away from welcoming.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing us back to a planet we've already seen for a pilot of a new show.
Exactly.
But I'm glad they expanded later. You know.
Yeah, and Mandalorian's obviously following this tracking fob he's been given by the client of the Empire.
Yes. Then they get ambushed by what was it? The Blurgs.
The Blurgs, yeah,
The
the Blurgs, and we do find out that they are led by a very familiar-looking person because of his race as an Ugnaught, and his name is Quill, played by Nick Nolte.
He is a legend who has spoken.
He has spoken.
He always speaks
about him. There's something. He's almost the way he speaks. He says so little, yet he says so much.
Man, a few words, just like Mandalorian. Maybe
Just
that's
like
why they get on so well. You know.
It's almost in a different style completely. Whereas Mandalorian's more badass. This guy just seems wise, and he seems like he knows his stuff.
Do you think he plays a mentor role to the Mandalorian and kind of puts him on the right path?
Potentially. You can kind of see it as, yeah, I suppose he does train him to use these blurgs, and he helps him on his quest. He's more of a helper character than a
He still
mentor as
inspires
such.
Mando's kind of. He's inspired by his bravery and his Mandalorian culture. He's saying like, I want to see a Mandalorian in action, take down these mercenaries. But
Yeah.
he's still kind of like generous, and he's a peace-loving person.
Yeah,
That's why he's helping
peace,
Mandalorian.
and that's
essentially.
why he says he helps Mandalorian. Yeah, and you got to respect the bloke. He's got a nice little house. He's got his blurgs that he seems to breed. He just wants a simple life, and there's these rapscallions that are causing disarray.
That's a very strong term, Charlie, but I think it's safe to say they are indeed rapscallions. He's a very generous character, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
helping the Mando, helping Mando, and basically offering his aid for free.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly he does have his own benefits from it, as in he gets rid of these people from his land that he wants peace on.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he doesn't really need to help. Mandalorian could have just run in there and done it for him, but he gave him his own pets to ride on.
Yeah.
He gave him
he didn't need to do that, did he?
And he really sorted Mandalorian out. And this is where we get to the good bit. Because once Mandalorian has done his training with Quill and the Blurgs, he gets to the hideout, should we call it?
Yeah. That's what I called it in my notes, the hideout.
Yeah. Full of, they just seem like mercenary types, kind of generic mercenary types.
I wanted to talk about this. So the mercenaries have already overtaken the hideout, right? Where Baby Yoda is.
Yes.
So why are they just hanging around outside the structure? Have they not been able to get in yet? And it was Mandalorian and the IG units
That's a good point.
idea Or were they? No, but there was already one in there, right? That he shot when he
Maybe
made
they're
his
just
way in.
guarding it. Maybe they're just guarding it and waiting for a way off the world to get away. I'm not too sure. Who
Maybe
knows?
do they know? They must know about Baby Yoda's there. That's why they're there, right? So it's
Yeah, that's
interesting
what they
that
protect. That's what they protect. I assume. But
oh,
yeah.
interesting.
Anyway,
That's not really the point. The point is we get an awesome fight with an IG unit and Mandalorian.
Goose, and once again, what a bloody badass he is.
I know.
I mean, we've seen the IG units. We've seen them in the Clone Wars. We've seen them in Empire Strikes Back, and they
Yep.
seem pretty cool. Oh, they've always been more of a a goon type, more of a henchman. Just they never really had their own thing going for them. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah, they're yeah.
here we get a singular IG-11 who is just he runs the show, really, doesn't he?
I mean, as far as personalities and droids go, I think throughout the whole season one, we get a lot from this IG unit.
Yeah, and what a guy! What a guy! We'll get onto his latter stories in as we go along, but talking about the introduction of him,
What a
just
beast.
mate, he's almost like Mandalorian if he was a droid.
Pretty much. I think Mandalorian, if he was better at his job,
Yeah,
because he wanted to take out Baby Yoda, didn't he?
but it
Which
just
is
shows.
suspicious, but we'll get onto that later. But yeah, what a beast.
Yeah,
Absolute
and
unit.
throughout this fight, we also see almost the dynamic of like versus machine. Like
Mm,
he might be more accurate and he might be more like quick than the Mandalorian, but the Mando uses more of like his knowledge and his human almost thoughts, like
mm,
human
yeah.
experiences to kind of think of ways out of things.
This is
Whereas,
the question of, sorry to cut you off there, but humans versus droids in the Star Wars universe. Theoretically, right, droids should be these unstoppable killing machines.
yeah,
And sometimes they are. You know, we see it in this IG unit. We see it in, if we go Legends, HK-47 comes to mind. Uh, Even, I suppose, B2 battle droids have a lot of military might. But when you think about humans versus droids in the Star Wars universe, it is the initiative that the humans have, especially in the Clone Wars, that
yeah,
brings humans over, makes them better than the battle droids.
definitely, yeah. Like you see IG-11 give up almost because he's like the odds are not in our favor.
Mm,
Whereas Mandalorian uses his like initiative and experience to kind of just defy the odds, and then like the odds are not a fixed outcome.
that is
Could
very
still
true,
do this.
Jonathan. He was going to blow himself up like 3 times, wasn't
Exactly. But
he?
Mandalorian
Wow,
stopped
yeah.
him, and lo and behold, they found a nice little way to defeat these punks.
That is true. And what a awesome fight it was. The way
Mate,
the IG unit can like twist his waist and his torso, his arms and his legs, whatever, to cover his flanks is
what a
such a
guy.
cool idea for a Star Wars fight scene. In the Star Wars universe, why not have the droids be able to do everything?
Yeah,
That, you know, they've got one reason why they're built. And if it's
exactly.
to shoot people, let
Make
them
them
shoot
good at
people
it.
well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And that's exactly what they allow IG 11. Is it IG 11? I didn't know it was IG 11.
It is. I actually did look out because I thought it was 86. I don't know where I got that from. It might be a geezer from the Clone Wars. I don't know.
Maybe. 88 is the one from Empire, right?
Empire, yeah.
Mm. In Legends, he got blown up by Boba Fett, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because Boba Fett realized that IG 88 was following him.
You never know. They can make that canon. Never know.
You never know.
Apparently,
Mm.
just a little anecdote. Let's not have too much discussion about it, but I'll just let in a little snippet that IG-88 is actually rumored to be part of upcoming Star Wars game.
Upcoming Star Wars game.
Mm. It's
Wow,
just
that is
rumors.
news,
I'm not
Sean.
actually sure what the game is. I just saw it on YouTube. But
Wow.
don't get too
Maybe it's the
excited.
Ubisoft open world game coming out.
Yeah, don't get too excited because Ahsoka and Ventress were rumored for Battlefront 2 for about a year and a half, and we
Oh,
never got them. So you know.
well, that's
Anyway,
a video for another time, isn't it, Charlie?
yeah.
Anyway,
Any-
moving swiftly on.
This is the end, and this is probably the most pivotal scene in a series of pivotal scenes.
Mm.
And we are. I mean, this was a shock, and I'm pretty sure it was a shock to everyone. I mean, all the things you could have thought of from a Mandalorian TV show. You'd think, oh, maybe we'll see a bit of Boba Fett. Oh, we might see
Yeah,
other iconic bounty hunters. Maybe based off the timeline, we might see like I don't know, like people from the original trilogy. I
maybe.
don't think anyone expected a baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, people.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
he's become a phenomenon since then.
he
Since
has,
that
hasn't he?
iconic moment where his little ears poked out. And what happens next is IG-11 goes to complete his mission, which is execute the target.
And I feel like there's a lot to unpack here because, firstly, talking about Baby Yoda, I have a confession to make, audience members. I
I
did
got
not
a
watch. Here it goes. Here it comes. Mandalorian. I did not watch it until last year, like December time. Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh no, there goes half our fan base. Oh no, there goes the
Ah,
other half. Oh, I'm so sorry.
hello to the one person still here, Luke McArdle.
You just okay. Yep. Luke, thank you for playing along. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Shameless plug to no one. Anyway, ignore me.
Yeah, season one
Yeah.
and two, even though season one was out for about a year, I only just got Disney Plus last year, at the end of last year, and I binge watched the whole show.
Oh,
And
what a sinner! What a sinner!
I feel like a fake Star Wars fan.
Nerd. Anyway,
Uh, I knew about Baby Yoda. Obviously, there was no
there's no
avoiding
getting
Baby
no.
Yoda.
I think
But
I watched it like a day late, and I'm pretty sure I saw it on YouTube or something. I
oh
don't know
yeah,
what it was, but when I saw it, I knew what I'd saw before. If that makes sense.
well there you go. But when people
That's how
think
much
Baby
hype you
Yoda,
generate.
yeah, exactly. But when people said Baby Yoda, I thought Mandalorian was actually a really, really old Republic, you know,
Prequel.
hundreds and hundreds of years ago prequel. Because when they say Baby Yoda, I thought it was Baby Yoda. And I thought that was a cool idea. Um, but no, this is a new little green man,
Yeah,
50-year-old
I
man.
mean, I don't think anyone expected that. And straight off the bat, we get the dynamic because IG-11 shoots his shot,
Mm.
or does he? We hear the blaster, and someone is dead. But it's not your baby Yoda. It's in fact IG-11
That
taken
shot,
down.
dude. That shot where it's zooming into Mando's face. You know, you think you hear a gun blast, you see the red light flash off screen. You're like, ah,
But
sorry,
no.
Grogu, I barely knew ye.
But no.
But no,
But no. It's the
but no.
start of a bond between two characters that has become, I'm sure, many people's favourite in almost all of Star Wars.
It's a very powerful father-son bond, and one far more healthy than what we see in the original trilogy.
Yes, that's an understatement.
Yeah, well, understatement of the century, mate. Yeah, it's there's an instant bond. There's an
Yeah,
instant, connection between Grogu, oh, Baby Yoda at this point, and
yeah.
Mando.
And we finally see that Mando, somewhere in his badass, ruthless body and soul, he has a heart. There's a heart in there.
Yeah, but beneath that cold exterior, he just wants a little green sun.
And
And don't we all?
yeah, don't we all? Don't we all? I think it sets the tone perfectly for the whole of the series.
That is what, at the
This,
very least, season one is all about, and
this,
season two.
yeah. This guy is a badass, and he will do many bad things as long as it means this little kid is not harmed.
And that's much better than doing many bad things just for the paycheck, Charlie.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
He's got a
Morality.
reason to fight.
Remember that in the real world, people. Morality. See,
See,
Star
what are you
Wars
signing up for?
always.
Star Wars podcast or philosophy? We don't know.
I
Oh,
mean, they're one and the same, if anything. Star Wars has always been one for philosophical quotes and messages.
especially from Yoda, and this is a baby Yoda. So
It's
there you go.
the circle of life.
Star Wars is like poetry; it rhymes.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure William
exactly.
Shakespeare said that.
But yeah, I
I got a
think.
question about IG-11.
Go on.
His like exterior, his skeleton looks so durable. He admittedly he fell over, but he took a lot of shots in that
Yeah.
fight scene, right? He took a lot of shots, which made me think: is it, probably not Beskar? I didn't really know what Beskar was at that point. Is it Durasteel?
Who knows,
You
mate?
know, but
You
as
ever do
soon
know?
as he gets critical blast to the head, he's Gonzo.
It's Gonzo, son. He is Gonzo.
On the
And
floor.
yeah. I mean, it's probably the point blank esque-ness of the shot. Right
Probably,
next to his little head. But
probably.
yeah. I think we've summed it up there. We'll give our little overall thoughts. We'll give it a little rating.
Yeah. Oh, what did
For, I
you
know
like
that.
and what did you not like?
I mean, I feel like I've kind of said that already. One added note that I
Mm,
kind of couldn't put in a particular part. I kind of have said it as a summary of this episode, but you could also carry it over to the whole series. I think the pace of the story benefits so well from the mysteriousness of the characters. Let me
mm,
explain. Let me explain. Most films, TV shows, if you're quite a character that needs the connection, like he needs people to get on board with him.
mm,
Sometimes it's easy to like have to flesh out a lot of backstory, and a lot of time would have to be put into that. But in Mandalorian, I think every character would benefit more from a lack of backstory almost. Like the mysteriousness of them is what makes them so good.
okay.
Like with
Interesting.
Mandalorian, you don't really want to know where he came from straight away because you want to find that out gradually.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So
Okay. Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
so there's not like a whole backstory scene. And with Baby Yoda, you kind of that's a mystery as well. You don't see where he came from. IG-11 as well. He kind of just turns up and is badass, and we love it. Do you know?
Mm.
See what I mean? Like
I
I
get
feel
what
like
you
that
mean.
it keeps it quick paced, but you still feel like you're on board with the characters. And I think that's really powerful that you
Very
can
well
do
put,
that.
Charlie. Very well put. Do you think there's such a thing as over exploring a character?
I I think if we were to just find out a lot about Mandalorian in this first episode, I feel like it would just ruin the whole complexity of the show. I think
Mm.
that's one of the intrigues of watching each episode. Like each episode, you can't wait for it because you want to find out a bit more about these characters. You're
Right.
not
Yeah.
you're not just following a character you already know on their story. You're figuring them out along the way, and it adds an whole new dynamic that we haven't really seen before, I don't think.
That's
I
true.
mean,
We have not seen a healthy father-son relationship, like we say.
exactly.
Oh, Ezra, Kanan.
I mean, it's kind of master apprentice. You can kind of. Ooh, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
It's a slightly different relationship,
Yeah,
but I feel
but
like there's still a familial father-son. I think that's a familial relationship between all of the Ghost crew. But
yeah.
again, we can talk about that another time.
Another time.
Another
You got
time.
any? You got any little summary points you'd like to make, Jamie?
Well, I think as far as pilots go, this group hooked me in. I'd say more than Game of Thrones, to be honest. I
Yeah,
think this is an
it's
instant hook.
yeah.
Game
It
of
goes
Thrones, it takes a
straight.
long time. Well,
It's
not a
no.
long time, but
There's nothing slow paced about it, is there? It's
yeah,
just full
exactly,
on action from the first scene to the last, really. There's not
exactly.
too many. It's just a mad show and
I think that's
a
because
mad episode.
a mad episode, mate. Exactly. I think it's because there's a simplicity to Mandalorian. Not everything has to be like this big, epic Game of Thrones, you know, complex, politically intriguing, morally ambiguous show. That's great. Game of Thrones, for the most part, is one of my favorite shows
Things
ever.
things like Breaking Bad as well. I think big shows like that. Things like Breaking Bad. You got a niche one for everyone. Top Boy, another one.
I've
There's
never seen
there's
it.
there's so many shows out there that you could say is they go for the more build up the characters slowly,
Mm.
but like they build up. You kind of know the characters. Like you see, this is the thing with this is what I'm trying to. This is what I was trying to say with Game of Thrones. You kind of get the backstories,
Yeah,
and then it
that's
builds
true.
into the story. Whereas
That's
with
true.
Mandalorian, it does it as it goes along, and that's what I mean by fast paced. That's how it all
That's
goes
true.
hand in
There's no
hand.
like, let's sit down, let's discuss what happened in the
That's
past, really.
yeah,
Or not as much. Like there's so many scenes where like Sansa and Cersei, especially in the early seasons, are reminiscing, or Ned Stark and Jamie are talking about when Ned's brother and dad's got burnt in King's Landing, and that stuff is brilliant, but maybe sometimes showing rather than telling
yeah. I
is
mean,
the
there's
way to
not.
go.
I don't think you can call it better or worse. It's just a different way of doing it, and it's refreshing.
Yeah.
I'd call it.
Yeah, I
Mandalorian
agree.
is a very refreshing show to put onto our screens.
I agree, Charlie.
I bloody love it, and this first episode started it off with a bang, and I can't believe it was almost 2 years ago that I watched it. But should we get to the rating? Have you got any more last points you want to make?
Ooh, I think we've just about covered everything. One thing that I don't like, I'd say, is the. I feel like the first episode is just the tiniest bit disjointed. Like
Ooh,
I don't want to say that they should have dragged it out more episodes, because you're right, the fast pace does help the show, but I don't know. I feel like there's just it's just I can't really explain it, but I feel like maybe it could have been slightly more coherent
yeah,
in the storytelling, just a little
fair,
bit. You know how
fair
we
enough.
go from ice monsters to blurg taming in the same episode. But again, some might say that's a beauty of Star Wars, and I
Yeah,
cannot argue with that.
yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think I had a few negatives, but I didn't even bother saying them because I just feel like they're nitpicky, if anything. And then,
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a giant nitpick.
yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
I mean,
Definitely.
we can call this show bloody amazing. We both loved it. What's your overall rating, Jamie?
Ooh. Episode 1. That was a weird
Episode
ooh.
one. Yeah.
Ooh. Episode 1, I will
Yes.
give a 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh, I've been
It's
slightly more
brilliant.
generous.
Oh,
I've
oh,
given it a
okay.
9 out of 10.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think it's brilliant, but the best is yet to come.
And the best is yet to come. And yeah, I think the only thing holding it back from a 10 out of 10 is a comparison compared to some of the other episodes.
Mm. It's smaller scale at this point, and that's not a
Yeah,
bad thing.
but there's no flaws. Not really many at all. So it's perfect Star Wars, is what we're trying to say. And
Mm.
I'm pretty sure most of you have agreed. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think we've come to the end of our first episode.
I think that's a very natural closing point.
I like it.
I like it as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you liked it, please follow, and we will be sure
Tell a
to
friend.
tell
That'd
it,
help.
or tell as many friends as you want, mate.
Yeah.
We'll be glad to accept all of you.
Yeah. I hope we haven't bored you.
Mate, no one can
Sure
get
we
bored
have.
talking about the
Exactly,
Mandalorian.
exactly, mate. I hope you've had fun. Is probably the better way to say it.
Yeah,
I don't
hope
need
you
to hope
enjoyed.
though. I know you have. Oh, bold. Yeah.
It's very
Anyway,
controversial.
controversial indeed, but yeah, that's it. I hope you follow us into our next journey, which will be sometime soon, where we'll discuss episode 2 of The Mandalorian. We're not
Coming
slowing down.
very soon.
Very, very soon in a galaxy near you.
Hopefully
Probably
the
the
same
same
one.
one. Yeah,
Hopefully.
unless you're an alien watching. That's even cooler.
In which case, welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Please make sure to like, follow, and tell your friends, all your Star Wars loving mates. And we'll be here to cover the next episode of Mandalorian next time. Thank you very much. It's a bye from me. Goodbye.
And it's a bye from me. Goodbye. Brilliant. All right. See you later, everyone.
Wait, 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 wait.